Stephanie. Hi, I'm Stephanie, represent I'm Aware.
And I'm Ebony, representing ENDTs and Ebony Honics.
And together we make Group Economics.
You see the shirts? We got some different shirts on. Mm-hmm. If you've been with us for a very, very long time, or you've been watching us, you know that we are
on season 2.
Yeah, man, we on season 2. And in season 2, season 1, we always had a different shirt on. Mm-hmm. We always had a nice little acronym for you. We always had a nice little topic. So just know that our ultimate goal is
we are a solution-based organization, and our main topic for this vlog is to bring attentiveness to perception and how it drives our life and our choices. On our previous episodes, we spoke about how our perception can affect our metacognition and our cognitive bias, as well as our 7 learning styles that play a big part on one's perception.
Right. So we are right now, we're networking with like-minded successors to accomplish economic growth and helping others to obtain the basic skills because they're absolutely necessary. Yes. And the skills that we're working on today is just bringing awareness to the different things that we go through in our communities on a day-to-day basis. Things that you might have thought that was normal, and then you realize that like that's not so normal. Yeah. Especially when you start raising some kids and you realize like, yeah, that's
how much your environment really groomed you. Yeah.
Because if you notice, we talked about the past season about, like she said, that 7 different learning styles and the cognitive biases. Well, the different biases that you have shape the things that you do and your perceptions that you have over life. Mm-hmm. Those perceptions then affect you. So like your environment, your education, your belief. Yeah, your belief system, mm-hmm. all those things, your values, those all help to shape your perception. Yes. So we're now moving to our segment on perception and how it can affect emotional intelligence.
Yes. And on the emotional intelligence spectrum, it is 4 main domains that we'll be touching on. And the first one is self-awareness. But the 4 domains are accurate self-assessment, flexibility, and adapt.
Yeah. So with those, though, we go with self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Yes. And those are just the things that we're going to use to become adaptable. Those are the things we're going to use to have that emotional intelligence and those relationships management. So today's topic on self-awareness, we're going to be using the acronym
GROWTH. Yes.
G.R.O.W.T.H. Growth.
Yes.
And so growing resistance outside of what tribulations happen. Yes. Growing resistance, meaning taking that resistance, mm-hmm. making it grow outside of whatever's going on.
Yeah, whatever tribulations. Yes.
Whatever happening around you, how you can learn how to grow that resistance mm-hmm. to not allowing that to affect
being
your
a better
perception.
Responder, yes.
How to affect your self-awareness mm-hmm. and to just affect your growth. So we want to shed light on how we can start, how your growth can be stunted when you let obstacles get into the way of being self-aware. So in the mindset of being self-aware, we're going to start off with, we're going to play a little game. Mm-hmm. And while we talk to y'all, hopefully y'all will be okay with that. We're going to play some games and we're going to, just to help us get to the conversation so you can
stay in tune, and we'll be focusing on what can help us be better. So what is self-awareness?
Self-awareness, to me, self-awareness is basically having the accurate self-assessment of yourself, as you mentioned earlier, mm-hmm. and being able to know what things trigger you, what things bother you, what things you're good at, and what things you might need to improve on.
Yes. I definitely have an ability to focus on your thoughts, feelings, and emotions that align with you or don't align with your internal standards. And to also say it is your conscious knowledge of your individual character traits.
Yeah, knowing about yourself, basically. Knowing, being aware that you are either a procrastinator, being aware that you are somebody that's an overachiever, mm-hmm. being aware that maybe that you need a little help in certain areas. I need you to draw too, my dear.
And that's all right. That's all right. So why is this conversation on self-aware even necessary?
So I think self-awareness, the conversation on.
I dropped to you.
Okay. I just want to make sure we gotta make sure she playing the game right. Right. Trying to cheat. So I think that the conversation on self-awareness is definitely relevant because you have to learn about your emotional self. You have to learn how your self-awareness and the things that you're doing are preventing you from growing or helping you to grow.
Right.
It also it gives you what your personal strengths and limitations are, so you can get an accurate self-assessment. And it's also makes you aware about your emotional self. How do you respond to things that happen to you?
Yes.
Are you responding negatively?
I've responded in so many ways, but what I can tell you why this conversation is relevant, because it helps us communicate with clarity in our decision making, which in turn helps us stay ready for our future endeavors. So it is relevant because we really want to shed light on how much we've been influenced by our lives based off our environments, our beliefs, and our experience and knowledge.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that we're using that reflective learning and that we know about our strengths and our weaknesses. Because if we don't, and we're not using that reflective learning, like think about how many times you was in school. We had this conversation the other day, and we've been friends forever. So we had this conversation the other day, and she's like, "Dang, we do T-shirts." She's like, "They had T-shirt printing in school
all that time, all the 4 years, and then see to what just had our 20th reunion.
We telling them our business. Now they know how old he is.
Hey.
Now they know how old he is. You don't know. You got about a roundabout age now that you know that.
Let them take time to do the math. But yes, what? So the next question will be: what are some ways to improve your self-awareness?
So there's some ways that you can improve your self-awareness by maybe journaling, making you need to get around people that.
Like-minded successors
that can pour into you. So you got to be able to take that conductive criticism and not take it to offense, but use it as a tool for you to grow and for you to learn. You set goals.
Yes.
Journaling, being on having an agenda. Like my child, I have him writing his stuff down and then making a checklist off of it. And then you can do things like you have to look at you got to be disciplined and you got to look at those past traumas.
Yes. And practicing mindfulness, be more active with your listening and observing more. And for starters, like she said, having a whole lot of patience with yourself and ask trustworthy people. Oh, it's blue. Okay. I was waiting on you. Yes. I was waiting on you. Okay. Not a problem. Yeah. So journaling is definitely effective. I've been having my children work on it for years and they skipped out on. But when you do any type of journaling, it really gives you not only insight on your overall day and what you did, your feelings, and then you even do some spell checking. I go back, what in the heck did I write? I'm like, okay, yeah, I was angry on June the 12th, 2016. Yes. But you want to definitely reflect on those journalists. So it's reading your own book back to you in order to help you become more self-aware, getting in tune with yourself.
Okay. So what are some ways? Oh yeah, I put that down. There you go. All right. What are some ways that what do you think some things that are getting in the way of being self-aware?
Oftentimes, yes, I'm going to say oftentimes I neglect to redirect old habits, patterns, and behaviors that no longer serve me.
Yes.
And becoming self-aware requires consistent discipline.
Discipline and consistency is very key in being self-aware.
It is.
You have to be dedicated to growth. If you're not dedicated to growth mindset and having goals, then it's gonna knock you off your course. You have to be able to. I pulled a card.
Oh, you did. Okay, my fault.
You have to be able to understand who you are, and then you have to be able to see that. And you can't do that if you're.
You can't. You need organization next,
girl.
Once you try to work out those negative habits and redirect those negative habits and behaviors and patterns that no longer serve you. You want to get organized. Starting in your bedroom. Heck, if you live in a car or RV, just start with your organization. Look for utilizing different resources that you have. Ask someone. Time management as well.
Yeah, I was talking to. So we always promote therapists on here. We don't have a specific group, but we say get help. So don't ever think that we're like self-proclaimed know-it-alls. We've actually been doing the work. We've been going to seminars. We've been going to classes. We actually see therapists. We actually have specialists for our children, counselors. Yes. We have counseling mentors. And one of the things we talked about was doing a vision board. a lot of people learn visually, and if you see something every day, it's going to make you want to work towards that goal.
Yes.
And so one of the things we talked about today was just creating a vision board. Maybe putting it on your computer if that's something that you see every day. My oldest son has it on his MacBook, so his screensaver is his vision board. My youngest son, we're working on a poster board. And so put the poster board up in your room, take a picture of it, and then put it on your computer screen or on your phone. And then that's something
as a screensaver. Yeah, you definitely right. Yes, and also creating healthy boundaries.
Ooh, that's
it doesn't even matter the relationship. Learning to say no. Ooh, it's necessary. It's necessary. Yeah, it's your turn. It's definitely necessary. And to wean people and even yourself, compromise is a healthy weaning exercise. So taking time, it could be a no right now, I can't get to it, give me some time. But definitely give yourself time. Don't let nobody push you or bully you into making a decision that you're just not ready for, that you need that time to redirect and see, is it on your schedule? Can you put it into your plans? Because you want to have that organization, because now you're becoming more self-aware of how you value your time.
Yes. And that means you're going to have to start valuing other people's time too. So you're going to have to learn to create that routine, like being on time. Having that agenda,
not time management,
man. That's what I'm saying. So when you learn that skill alone helps you to respect other people's time and make people respect your time. Because what you're offering, what you're asking for, you can also give.
Yes.
So you can offer what you're asking for. So yeah, that's one. That's definitely big. I know that some people say self-aware because I'm pretty self-aware. And I mean, I know I have some levels. I already went. Okay. I know I have some levels that I need to grow on. So, how can becoming self-aware?
I know.
She was.
Be self-aware.
How can become self-aware? How can self-awareness, help you to become confident without actually being cocky?
Just now, I won, and we gracefully knew we got to definitely continue on. The show must go on.
There wasn't no graceful. You see, I threw the card.
But you behaved intelligently through chaos and hostility. But it wasn't even hostility.
No,
however, yes, of course, being confident is very much so important. You have courage in yourself. You are brave. You have a certain certainty about the capabilities you possess. Yes, based off of your values. Yes, and the goals that you are setting for yourself. Oh, it's on you, sis. So
I dealt first.
gracefully. I know, gracefully. but check this out. Knowing hard is relative, and I get this from you. Knowing hard is relative is the first tip in learning. Tip in learning. So fail, FAIL. We have you on the acronyms. First attempt in learning. So,
failure is not always bad. It's just your first attempt in learning something new. Yeah. When you're going to do something new, failure is a part of the process. If you've never failed, that means you've never really took any risk.
You never really took any risk at all. Right.
You ain't took no time to even try to learn something new. And
you get better with exposure too. Yeah. So you learn something new every day, and with the proper exposure, of course you're going to win. But it takes time. And you might fail 12 or 6 times, but you'll have something to take from it each and every time.
Right.
Especially if you have those great people in your circle. They're not going to let you fail too hard, but failing is necessary in a self-awareness path, for sure.
Yeah, people with self-confidence just present themselves in a self-assured way. It doesn't mean like, okay, I'll give you an example, and I'm sure she's okay if I use this. We do this vlog/podcast, and we've been doing it for this like the 7th episode, second season. And I asked God probably, it's been at least 6 years. I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Like, I do a lot in my church. I do a lot around just everywhere. And, we got this organization. I got T-shirts. I do a lot with my job. And I asked the Lord, like, what do you want me to do? And that was about 6 to 7 years ago. I asked him what he wanted me to do. I messed up.
That's okay.
But I asked him, what did he want me to do? And one of the things he did was I ended up speaking at church. And then I got on my job's travel team. And it's been about 5-6 years. It's been 5 years since I've been on the travel team. It's been 6 years.
And this travel team with your job, right?
Yeah, so I'm on a travel team with my job, and what it does is that team goes out and we speak to the different branches of service. So we go all over the world, not just in the United States. They sent me to Germany about 4 years. Was it 5 years ago? 4 to 5 years ago. They sent
almost
me
5.
4. It was 4 because it was right before the pandemic.
Right. So
literally right before the pandemic.
Year,
So about 4 years ago, they sent me to Germany, and I was gone there for a month. That was hard leaving my kids, but then I also started speaking at church more. I started seeing opportunities where they were like, "Hey, can you do this presentation?" And I'm just like, I don't even like talking to people unless I know them. That's what encouraged me to do this. But Miss Jones was telling me like, "Hey, how do you be so confident?" And I looked at her and I was like, "I be scared as heck when I do anything that I don't like. I be nervous. Like my son got his license the other day and I was ready to throw up. I had to call another friend and say, 'Hey, look, I feel like I'm about to throw up.' Like I didn't practice with the boys.
Tell that woman to go sit down. And,
I didn't
what he do? And what he do?
Pass the test. He ran in. I'm like, man. My thing was I was just so nervous. Even though you know something, it's like being confident doesn't mean you got to be cocky about it.
Yeah.
Like
you have this. If you know, then you speak on it. You live on it. You walk on it. You standing on business. That's what the people saying nowadays. Standing on business. So being confident is definitely also necessary while being becoming more self-aware.
You want to have that presence, and you want to be known. Like people with confidence and are self-aware, they have a confidence about themselves, which could be seen as an arrogance to the naked eye and the untrained eye, and to the people that are not, that don't have this, usually do label them as cocky.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Or arrogant or self-centered. Yeah, that's. What circle did they surround themselves by? Were they getting proper feedback? Did anyone decide to even help them manage that confidence a little bit better? Because some people really just run with it, and
some people be confident and they wrong. We talked about that in the first season.
Yeah,
some people are super confident and they wrong, and they so wrong. They used to being around people that's wrong, and they just don't say nothing. Wow, the color's now red.
All right.
So be confident. Don't be cocky. Don't be confident in your wrong.
Don't be confident in your wrong.
Be confident in the right.
Yes.
Be willing to go get that research done.
Ooh, I'm scared of you.
I'm scared of you. And when we're talking about self-assurance and we're talking about self-awareness and we're talking about the confidence, let's go into emotional intelligence. I mentioned that earlier about the emotional intelligence, but let's really go into that. Let's dive into emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, that's a job. It's over multitasking, and it's when you have the ability to be empathetic, for starters. Empathetic and taking your emotions, your feelings, and your thoughts, while also managing someone else get through their feelings, emotions, and thoughts.
Yeah.
That's very taskful. You want to be attentive, and that's being a good partner or a good provider, or someone that's trying to seek solutions. You want emotional, intelligent person in your corner.
Yeah, and that's another thing you have to practice. So why emotional intelligence is and how is it relevant to self-awareness? Basically, how emotional intelligence is relevant to your self-awareness is in order to be really self-aware, you have to be emotionally strong to know, I was wrong. And then you got to be willing to actually be like, my bad. You ain't got to.
Color green. Oh, no, out.
I think she only playing this game. She ain't trying to do this podcast. She trying to play this game. She trying to beat me in this game.
You're right with emotional intelligence, because when you are emotional intelligent, you overcome certain obstacles and challenges,
growing resistance outside of what relations you have,
and be able to diffuse conflicts. We start that as parenting. Then we got people.
All day.
I mean,
I said, I deal with my job where I travel and we go speak to different branches of service, and you got to deal with people that are not happy.
Yeah.
And if you're not emotionally intelligent, you will allow their emotions to change the way you see things or what your course of your day is going to go.
Right.
And then you're not willing to think their reaction has more to do with what they have going on than it has to do with me.
Right. That morning they start off maybe getting bad feedback, maybe getting cut off in traffic, hearing bad news. Like, people could really mess up their day not being in the moment. Yeah. Or knowing when to change up out of that moment. Yep. Yeah.
Learning how to. So in order to be emotionally intelligent, you just have to understand that people have feelings, I have feelings, understand those feelings, and then how to be able to navigate through the trials and the tribulations that you have, even with other people. So if somebody tell you, hey, I'm mad at you because you didn't call me back last night, the emotionally intelligent person will say, you know what, I did have something to do with my bad. That's an apology. Doesn't have to be getting on your knees,
right, or saying I'm sorry and begging.
And just begging. It's
acknowledging, properly acknowledging. Yes, acknowledging.
It's acknowledging
being in that moment.
Offense. Because everybody's
being confident you're right. Yeah.
Be confident. You might have been wrong. You might not even thought nothing about it, because to you it doesn't matter if somebody call you back, but to them it does.
Right.
So being emotionally intelligent and know and aware, and being aware of yourself. If you know you want some trash and you ain't calling back because you just ain't feel like talking to them, just say that. Because I tell somebody in a minute, I just didn't have the capacity.
It wasn't a good day.
That's what setting healthy boundaries.
Yes. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to give you a space, because growing resistance outside of what tribulations happen, we can't always immediately be there. But when you take that time to reflect or jot, like, oh, somebody, felt upset, or I was upset about how someone came to me in action, then you could take that time to then figure out a better response for it and not be so hostile.
We don't want to be hostile. We want to be able to, we want to learn how to deal with those hostile situations. Check out our first podcast. We got some how to deal with hostility and chaos.
Yes.
We got an acronym for that. So the 4 different, we spoke about it earlier, but the 4 different domains of emotional intelligence just is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. In those, your ultimate goal is you want to have an accurate self-assessment. You want to have flexibility and adaptability.
Yep, a growth mindset.
You would definitely want to have your growth mindset in there. And we want to be goal-oriented.
Yeah. Start setting goals. The smallest goal, I'm going to wake up on time. I'm going to wake up on time and make my bed. I'm going to wake up and pray and make my bed. Like, work on those things that's going to help you better yourself. So
basically what Ms. Jones is saying, you set a goal. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit. So yes, you set a goal. So you set one goal. Okay, you squash that goal. You did that goal. You doing that goal good for a month. Add another one. Don't get so happy and stagnant in your growth that all you do is that you decide that, okay, well, I met my goal. That's like saying I want to earn $1 million. You earned $1 million, so you stop.
No, you when you earn that, and even in the process of you earning that, or even see that you almost to that goal, you get ready to start. What can I do next to keep it? You don't want to keep selling yourself short, doing and acting in the same old habits that no longer serve you.
Right.
It's a disservice.
Right.
Period.
So with the 4 domains, we mentioned, having accurate self-assessment. Accurate self-assessment is just being able to look at yourself. What am I good at? What do I need to improve on? Not necessarily what I'm bad at, but what do I need to improve on? And where can I make these things? Where can I make stuff more relevant? Like, how can I make this present? A lot of people get stagnant and they get to an age and they're like, well, I don't need to grow no more.
Man, stop it. I talked to my granddad the other day, and my granddad is 86, I believe. I would have never thought I would have been at the age to see my granddad working social media and YouTube. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
When he was working a DVD player when his wife was alive, but now granddad all over on YouTube talking about, here, look at this. I was like, granddad, it don't even need our help too much because he got it. But his daughter helped him out. So shout out to
learning new stuff.
Yeah, definitely learning. Okay, thank you.
So learning new stuff. So to have an accurate self-assessment, you just got to be aware. You got to have people around you that are willing to help you, and you got to be willing to hear that when you know that you messing up.
Yeah, give yourself grace while making mistakes. Yeah. Admitting when you are accurate in your self-assessments, you will begin to see that overreacting is just doing too much.
It's not helping you. Like I used to. My kids can have me. They about one of the only people that can make me go there, or unless I'm in a
color blue.
Unless I'm into like a relationship with somebody, they're the only ones that can really like make my blood boil. Customers yelling at me and screaming at me, I just be like, no. I just be like, no, you're gonna draw two. That's what you're gonna do.
And that's all right. And
then that color's not gonna be green. Okay. But yeah, that's just we're gonna skip you. We're gonna reverse.
Work it out.
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
So to have that accurate self-assessment, you just gotta know yourself. Now, when you're doing the accurate self-assessment, what is the science behind the way we act? What's that science? Uno
out says, yeah. So it all starts with conception and your biological traits that you inherit. So it's definitely you, but you inherit a lot of these things before you even know how to learn and operate through them. Our brain is hardwired in its own way. It's also how we begin to evolve based off of the exposure to our environments and how it groomed us in certain situations and circumstances, which also brings us back to perception and our learning styles throughout that whole time.
Yeah. So the parts of the brain that really, really hone in and the science behind why we act the way we act is we have
give you grace and deal.
We got three main parts. Trying to be funny because I got a deal again. I ain't mad. I don't care about not winning. I'm winning anyway. Sometimes you win and you lose. Sometimes you lose and you win. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to understand that. Like, not every loss is a loss.
No, it's not.
Hey,
it's a
lesson. It might be a setup for a blessing.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Mm-hmm. So with the science behind the way we act and the way we think, there are parts of your brain. There's three main parts of your brain that help you in the science of how you act. And they are your cortex, which is your primate or human brain. Mm-hmm. There's your
cortical region.
I can't do nothing. And subcortical region, which is your inner mammalian brain. Mm-hmm. And then you have your brainstem or your cerebellum, which is your reptilian brain or the lower parts of your brain. So if we start with the top, we got that cortex, which is that primate / human brain. And then we got the inner side of it is your mammalian brain, or that subcortical region. Mm-hmm. And then we have that reptilian brain, which is that lower part of your brain, your cerebellum. And each part, like your cortex is in charge of like your speaking, your reasoning tools, how to work with things. Mm-hmm. Your mammalian brain, it's your memory, your emotions, and that's what you do with that's your inner part of your brain. Mm-hmm. And then your lower part, which is that subcortical, that's the biological function is for your breathing, your digestion, your basic instincts and survival skills. Mm-hmm. In that, you have one part of your brain that makes you do some crazy things. So with that survival method and that survival instincts, let's talk about what is the amygdala hijack.
Yes, the amygdala hijack. And to piggyback on the three parts of the brain, they also call it the triune brain or the adaptive brain as well, based off of the information that Ms. Douglas gave to you. But yes, the amygdala hijack, I'm 4 things can happen in here. We got the flight, fight, freeze, or fawn.
Yep.
Flight, response, fight, the freeze, or the fawn. And that's almost in the sense of a deer getting cut in the headlights, And also when people black out or shut down, that's your brain reacting. So lack of preparing could definitely be detrimental in this state.
So the part of the brain that is responsible for that amygdala hijack, and why amygdala hijack is even important in this conversation, is because that reptilian, that brain stem, that lower part of that brain, that's that part of that brain. Like I said, is your survival instincts is in there, your breathing, your digestion. So just think about somebody that's been exposed. If you're in survival mode all your life, meaning all you do is survive, you're never thriving. We spoke about this in the first episode. Yeah. If all you worried about is how to get to your next whatever, and you never like really enjoying life, and you're never really seeing what things you have to offer, what things have to offer you, and you get stuck in that fight or flight response all the time, that amygdala hijack takes over. And I just said the part of the brain, it's got to do with your breathing. So you're not breathing right. So before you take a basketball short, before you shoot a gun, you're supposed to take a breath. If you ain't got that in you, that's why we got so many killings now today, and they aiming at somebody, but they killing little kids because their amygdala hijack took over, and they're killing people that's just innocent bystanders.
Yeah, the amygdala, it definitely, is the emotional processing center. It starts the stress responses, and the hypothalamus gets the releasing of the pheromones for that, those four F's, which is the flight, fight, freeze, or fawn mode. The hippocampus, which is also in the middle of all that, is your memory bank. So based off of your experience of if you've ever been in that traumatic state or that danger state before, your memory is going to also impact on how you're acting then. Your prefrontal cortex analyzes in all the info. So with that being said, the amygdala makes up 90% of the decisions at that time.
And if 90% of your decisions are based off of a flight mode and you're in a survival status, then you're probably not going to make a great decision.
Yeah.
And if you're not making those great decisions, you're basically responding off of that hijack. That's why I call it a hijack, because it's taking over.
Right.
It didn't took over.
Jack move.
You're not digesting your food properly. I remember I used to get so mad that I wouldn't eat. And that was my body's way of telling me, like, we not hungry. We can't even digest the food you put in here.
Right.
So I think you need to go
Kelly
ahead.
Even say, so I can't think, baby. I
don't know why she was on because he was thinking something completely different.
Okay, he might have did have a hijack too, because something wasn't right up there based off his experience, though, if you know the story. But yeah, most definitely, your message could definitely get lost up in all that mess.
Don't let your message get lost in your mess.
Don't do it.
Somebody can tell you, like, I don't like you. Like, have you ever gotten in an argument? It's these toxic relationships you ever been in. You like, I can't stand you. I hate you. And I don't ever want to talk to you again.
You funky bastard.
But really all you was longing for was them to hear you. So you said all of that because you was just mad. Draw for colors now yellow. You just said all of that because your amygdala took over. It's like fight or flight. What should I do? You're in a constant hunt. Okay, where do I go? What do I do? What do I do? You can draw two more. And then you don't know where to go. So we don't want to get into those points where we let the amygdala hijack take over our whole thing. So you want to just breathe, and you want to think. Use the HALT method.
I was going to say, we missed the halts, because that's almost your why. Everybody is going through something, and it's literally because they could be hungry, angry.
Wait. So when we say HALT, it's another acronym.
Oh, yeah.
It's another acronym.
Don't move too fast. You're right.
HALT.
Yeah.
Now, what she was saying was HALT, meaning are you
hungry?
Are you
angry?
Are you lonely? Are you
tired?
And then, halts. You gotta put the S at the end. And are you stressed?
Yeah.
Those are usually if you look at any situation where the amygdala hijack is taking its place and taking its course, usually one of those 5 things is happening. You're either probably hungry, angry, tired, lonely, stressed. And that is what can make you feel some type of way.
Right.
And if that's making you feel some type of way, it can then cause you to react in such a way that you might not think is the best way to act. So, when we're talking about self-awareness, the reason why it's just so necessary to talk
it's absolutely necessary,
is because if you don't know anything about yourself and you're not realizing that the amygdala hijack is taking over you, your responses are all going to be based upon the things that are happening to you. And we want you to grow. We want you to have growth, which we want you to grow resistance outside of tribulations that are happening. If you're not growing outside of what's happening to you, you're going to let that amygdala hijack take over, and you're going to be just doing whatever you want to do.
You'll find yourself in an asylum somewhere.
Uno out.
Oh, not Uno out. Okay, come through.
Finally win.
Okay.
So basically, self-awareness is very, very necessary. And just some ways that you can become more self-aware, as we mentioned before, is create a self-awareness plan of action.
Yeah.
Self-reflect, have some discipline, and look at those past traumas, because those can affect the way you deal with things too. You got to start naming those traumas and start really dealing with those things that you have dealt with. Because such as simple as your parent not listening to you is why you don't listen to others. Something as simple as you had an absentee parent, so you think it's okay to be absent.
Yeah.
Such as your parents didn't allow you to speak, so now you think it's okay not to speak. Things like that. Things like, okay, I want the problem to go away, so I'm just not going to deal with it.
Right.
You got to look at those traumas.
Yeah, you definitely want to meditate, even pray about it. Walks in nature, reading, whether it's something pertaining to what you're trying to
try to read
grow
some
into.
Fiction too, because fiction gets you out of your mindset.
Which one go first?
This one go on top.
Okay.
Get out of your mindset of everything just gotta be like. I used to be so serious, take myself too serious, to the point where, I'm not reading fiction. You got to learn that it's okay to be lighthearted and have some fun. It's okay to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, you want that breakdown.
It's okay
seeking professional advice too.
Man, be careful of those knee-jerk reactions, those things that the things that trigger you and who trigger you. So you just like, as soon as something happens, if somebody asks you a simple question like, or say something like, that's interesting, and that bothers you, figure out why it bothers you.
Right. Because it could be really something interesting, but based off of their past events in life and experience, someone probably used that and thought that they was trying to get over them or something. So you definitely want to practice that mindfulness, working on managing your time and taking time for yourself, even time for your worries too.
Yeah, I schedule time to worry.
Yeah.
Practice gratitude. Also, get out your comfort zone, and then know what your pet peeves are. Because if you don't know what your pet peeves are, then you're gonna let your pet peeves. You're gonna let your pet peeves basically take over. And be your high, and that's what the amygdala hijack comes into play.
You want to realign with activities that better serve you.
Yeah. So remain open-minded. Get that personal health. Challenge yourself. Welcome change, because people who have change that come in their lives, sometimes they just don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
That could be a pet peeve. Ask for your feedback.
That's that adaptability, though.
Man.
Be flexible. Learn to be more flexible.
Be grateful that somebody wanted to teach you something new. Because it could be somewhere you always taking everything into offense, and they just want to help you.
Don't do that. Like, literally take that time to think about thinking, and knowing that growing resistance outside of what tribulations happen, you're growing.
Yeah.
You are definitely still growing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we want to thank you for listening to us today. She didn't whoop my butt on. I only won once out of the 4 hands. I think I won one time. She didn't won 3. But again, I'm Ebony with ENDTs and Ebony Onyx.
And I'm Stephanie, representing I'm Aware.
And together we make
Group Economics.
Thank you. Check us out on YouTube. We got Instagram. We got TikTok. We got Facebook. Check us out on all of our platforms. See, we got some great content. What's going on?
Right. We definitely got great content, and we're always accepting donations. So our drives are always in full effect. We want to get our pantry going every year and just keep it going. So if you ever have any donations that you want to give out,
if you have socks, toiletries that you want to give us, please
messages, email us. All our information is down below.
Like, follow, we are always follow, subscribe, and we're always accepting those donations. Always. Thank you, and have a great evening.